When I think really about Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa, although it is unfair, the comparisons ultimately remind me of the ones that were made between myself and Andrew Luck. Now, if anyone doesn't know, Andrew Luck was drafted number 1 overall in 2012, and I was drafted number 2. Andrew went to Indianapolis. I went to the Washington Commanders. But me and Andrew had been tied together ever since high school. We were both recruited to Stanford. Jim Harbaugh, who's now the head coach at Michigan, had already a commitment from Andrew Luck to go to Stanford based off of the previous regime, the previous coaching staff. He honored that commitment from Andrew Luck because Andrew Luck is a great quarterback. But he also wanted to bring me in to compete with Andrew at that quarterback spot. Now, I was an early graduate in high school. I was going to graduate in January, which is normal nowadays. But in 2008, it was not normal. And I went on my visit, and my host was none other than Richard Sherman. That's right. And this was wide receiver Richard Sherman, not all-pro future Hall of Famer cornerback Richard Sherman. And I'll never forget this. It's a little off the beaten path, but Richard actually took me out in Palo Alto, California, and we're in the car. He's playing this music, and he's like, "Hey, yo, Griff." They call me Griff. Nobody called me RG3 at this point. "Hey, yo, Griff, get out. We're going to ghost ride the whip." Now, I don't know what ghost riding the whip is because I didn't grow up in California. But apparently, it's when you get out of the car and the car is rolling next to you and you dance down the street while the car is continuing to roll. So I did not get out of the car and ghost ride the whip, but I sat in the car with no one in the driver's seat watching Richard Sherman dance his ass off for at least what felt like 400 meters down the street. Mind-boggling. But to get back on topic here, me and Andrew almost both went to the same school. Stanford is an amazing university. There's a lot of men that go there that become Stanford men. And I really wanted that to be a part of my journey. But because they didn't accept early enrollees at the time, I ended up not going to Stanford, despite Jim Harbaugh really recruiting me as hard as any coach has ever recruited me. And if you know anything about Jim Harbaugh, he will recruit. So I think it all worked out in the end. Andrew went on and had a great career at Stanford. I was able to go to Baylor University, win a Heisman, and have a great career there. And then it continued with us all the way through the pros. And honestly, we never played against each other in a regular season game with me and Andrew both being the starter. But we did play a preseason game in 2012. And although I said on multiple occasions the game didn't matter, I think my teammates took it personal to go and try to win that preseason game because they knew at the end of the day it matters. Who doesn't want to go number 1 overall? Everybody does. I know CJ Stroud did this past year between him and Bryce Young. I know that Bryce did because he verbalized it. And sometimes when you look at the quarterback spot, everybody wants to be that top dog. So me and Andrew have had a lot of great experiences together. And at the Heisman ceremony, after the Heisman, I took Andrew, Tyrann Mathieu, Monty Ball, and Trent Richardson all out on New York because they gave us these limousines. And they said, all right, you can take one limousine and you can go party, or you can take all of them and take everybody out with you. And I decided that, you know, these guys are great players. We're all brothers now. We all went through this experience together. And just because one guy won the Heisman Trophy, it doesn't mean that all of us shouldn't be partying together. And we went out. And honestly, it was one of the best nights of my life. I'll never forget. Andrew, he knows how to knock them back. And I know he seems like a quiet guy and very reserved, but he knows how to have fun. And I'll never forget those experiences with Andrew because it doesn't matter what happens on the field. We're always going to be brothers off the field.